We're back after our little bit of a break, half-time, intermission, so you can go hang out with Trish. We're back. Let's get back into it. Hey everyone, Marilyn Landis, I Hate Mornings, Angela, and Annika. Let's get back into it. Let me set this up. Let's get back into it. Let's see if any more details have come out about this mushroom death. Hey guys, how are you? Good to be back. Good to be back. Sorta. All right. Let's see what else they're saying. They put up this update about 20 minutes ago, and let's see if they want to tell us anything new about how Rachel Dixon of Ringwood North went into cardiac arrest. Let's have a look. It's interesting that two other people who ingested this liquid at the event were taken by ambulance but were discharged without issue, and she was the only one who seemed to enter cardiac arrest. And they're saying down here that she was like a triathlon coach, and not a triathlon coach. Yeah, a friend of hers, Miss Curran, a fellow personal trainer and triathlon coach, met Miss Dixon at a fitness seminar about 5 years ago. He said he taught her how to run properly and swim in open water. Mr. Curran said he had no hesitation recommending her to his clients. They all thought highly of her. They said she was a good friend. We shared a common interest in helping others through our shared knowledge. And so she was big into her fitness, and you saw that on that video I played. She's jogging in a rural area. It's interesting here. They said one of the first people on the scene to help said they had been in regular contact with Soul Barn's owner, Michelle Mullins, and continued to reassure her that the death was not her fault. She's not doing very well, as you would imagine. Well, you wouldn't imagine she's throwing any parties right now, no. They said it's understood Miss Mullins was not at the property at the time, but was notified of the incident soon after. It says the Fraser Street Retreat is an alternate healing practice that holds meditation and sound healing sessions. Soul Barn offers guest caravan accommodation and homestays. It's unclear whether Miss Dixon and the two hospitalized guests had attended an event at the retreat or gathered privately at the venue. I often don't gather privately at venues to crush my magic mushrooms, but each to their own. It says the Herald Sun has been told a local man performed CPR on the woman after being alerted to the incident by an emergency response app. It's called Good Sam Responder. Hold on. Let's have a look. So what do you need to become a Good Sam Responder? Become a heart restarter. It says the Good Sam Responder app saves lives by letting people like you know that someone nearby needs hands-only CPR in the first critical minutes after cardiac arrest. Hands-only CPR help keep someone alive while an ambulance is on the way. Every second counts. After submitting this form, we will send you a verification email to activate your account. What do you need? It doesn't say that it just says and use an AED. So it says you need to be able to perform CPR and use like an atrial, electric like an AFib thing, like a defibrillator. A defibrillator. So you need to be able to use it. Let's have a look. Responders must know how to do cardiopulmonary resuscitation and use an automated external defibrillator. That's one of those little packs that you get. They got really strong batteries in them, and that's what causes the shock. And they're quite mobile. They come in like a little pack with a handle, and you can take them places. It says responders are responsible for their maintenance of their CPR knowledge and skills. First aid qualifications are encouraged but not required. Responders should be guided by the 0000 call takers in relation to patient care where required. Responders are responsible for their own health and safety. When responders are alerted via the Good Sam app, they can choose to accept or reject the alert. When accepting an alert, responders should not enter a location if they believe it may be unsafe to themselves or others. Responders should arrive by foot where possible. Responders may consider driving to an event if distance prevents arrival by foot. I'm just having a look. So it doesn't say you have to own an AED. It just says that you have to be able to use one. But what if there isn't one nearby? With this, apparently the young man who went to save the life of this woman did have one. He had one on him. So he must work as a paramedic or a health, somewhere in health to be able to have one. But yeah, it says the app alerts all registered individuals of unfolding medical emergencies and notifies them of the closest defibrillator. But yeah, a young Clunes man jumped into his car and grabbed a defibrillator before rushing to the scene, but the woman could not be saved. So he must have either had one or there was a community one nearby. Sounds like he had one though. Maybe he worked as a paramedic or in a hospital or something like that. And it says a day after Miss Dixon's sudden death, Solbarn posted a social media statement saying that a coming event had been cancelled. It's understood police do not believe poisonous death cap mushrooms were used in the drink consumed by the trio. Austin Health has been contacted for advice after the incident. Trying to see if there's anything else. Doesn't seem so. They keep updating it, but they're not providing too much. All right, let's search her name. Rachel Dixon. Let's have a look at this.
Single mother Rachel Dixon was here at the Soul Barn Collective Wellness Centre in Clunes when she allegedly drank a concoction containing magic mushrooms. She went into cardiac arrest, and despite the efforts of a local man who performed CPR, she tragically could not be saved. 2 others at the retreat were taken to hospital in Ballarat for observation, but have since been released. Rachel Dixon's son paid tribute to his mum on Facebook, saying, "To the most loving, most caring person I've ever known. I can't thank you enough for everything you ever did for me. I wish I could give you one last hug." The local mayor says the community has been rocked by this latest tragedy.
The community is in shock and great surprise and alarm at an event like this. Following hot on the heels of the Hannah Maguire case, I'm concerned about the cumulative effect of these sorts of events happening in our community.
It's the second mushroom-related tragedy to rock Victoria in the space of just 9 months, but unlike the infamous case out in Leongatha where 3 people were allegedly murdered, police, it's understood, believe at this early stage of the investigation that death cap mushrooms were not involved.
They may not be involved, but something was. I saw an interview just before where they said death from a magic mushroom is just so rare.
Members of a church in Sydney's west where a bishop...
Like, they're not even sure they know of anyone who's died from, like, heart attack from a magic mushroom. They don't even have one on record, apparently. So I'm just trying to find if we can find another link for it. Hold on. God, this story's been buried in Australia. I don't know why. Probably because they have not released very much information, and they're probably waiting for the cops to do a press conference. Like, it's not even on the front page of the paper anymore. They're just like, no, it doesn't matter. Let's see.
Well, really, there are only three options the police will be looking at this morning. Was this an awful accident, so misadventure? Was it a case of suicide? Or was it something else, something more intentful? And I think we can probably rule out suicide quite early on in that piece, but the police will obviously look at that as a potential. It has to be done. But we're really looking at misadventure or intentful, and the police will look at both of those until they have evidence to take them down one of those paths.
If you can answer the majority of these questions about your partner.
Well, she's not wrong. They will have to, they will have to work out what happened. See, as we were saying before, the criminologist, Dr. Mallet, was saying that magic mushrooms alone would be unlikely to be fatal. So, what was the underlying reason, or was there no, like, could it have been? Could it be? Some of them were magic mushrooms, but not all of them were. Yeah, maybe. Maybe they picked up like a bunch that they thought were, and then grabbed another one which wasn't, and then that got mixed in and then turned to powder, and you know, you end up having it, and one person is susceptible to the poison and they pass away while the others just get mildly ill. It says 2 other people at the health retreat were also rushed to hospital after allegedly consuming a drink with foraged ingredients. They were released from hospital on Tuesday, which was yesterday. And yeah, that's it. That's all. That's it. So no real substantial updates in that one. Let me grab you something else. Hold on. Let me grab my bookmarks. Okay. I don't know why we're back at the Daily Mail, but fine. It says lifestyle blogger is jailed 8 years for starving his newborn son to death after demanding the child lived on a diet of sunlight instead of food and milk. What? Food and milk, huh? Food and milk. You're a freaking nutcase. You are. You're an absolute nutcase. That's him apparently. Maxim Letoy or Lewiter? I can't pronounce his last name. He's in jail. Oh, that doesn't help us. Let me look up a better source for this information. How can you think your son could live on sunlight? Are you that, like, stupid in the head? See if this one has a better article for us. Russian influencer has been jailed after letting his newborn starve to death while demanding he lived on sunlight. He admitted his guilt in a final court appearance and said the death was caused due to his negligence. Yeah, they probably beat the crap out of him. They're probably like, you got to admit to this. You did it. You might as well admit it. He's going to serve 8 years in a penal colony. It says a Russian influencer has been jailed after letting his newborn starve to death while demanding he should live on sunlight instead of food. It says the raw food fanatic Maxim, 44, also barred his wife from breastfeeding, not breastfeeding. That he might have tried that breastfeeding. He could have tried. He did try the sunlight thing, so maybe breastfeeding is another thing. No, breastfeeding. They're 1 month old. Yeah, you're a freaking cuckoo in the coconut if you think your son can live on sunlight. You absolute nutcase. It says, yet contrary to his own strictures, Maxim was found to be eating meat and pasta with stew as he was held in a Russian jail for more than a year after the baby's death. His son, who was born prematurely, died from pneumonia and emaciation due to poor feeding habits. The Russian father wanted to raise the newborn on prana eating, a diet in which people go without food and water for a long time and feed on the sun. He wanted to experiment on the child, feed him purely with the sun, and then advertise it to others that this is how you can eat. Well, that's not what you did. You you showed everyone around the world this is how you kill a child and how you go to jail. If that's the book you want to write, you did a great job. Um, if you wanted to write this other one about sunlight eating, you failed miserably, and you killed your own child. So it says here, he took the baby away from his mother for a day at a time, dousing him with cold water to harden him. But even in this condition, the child was not shown to doctors. The little body could not withstand the abuse. Exhaustion developed and breathing problems appeared. The lifestyle blogger admitted his guilt in a final court appearance and said the death was caused due to his negligence. Nah, you sure? He said, I admit my guilt. If I knew that my son was born prematurely, that his mother had uh, contraindications for pregnancy, and then at the first symptoms of the child's illness, I would immediately contact a hospital, regardless of the wishes and beliefs of the mother. Blame it all on the mum. You wouldn't even let her breastfeed her newborn baby, so I wouldn't be trying to blame anything on the mum. He urged would-be partners to care for their health before conception and pay more attention to their babies than he had done. On video, he said, Your Honor, distinguished court, I still insist I did not deliberately kill my child. This is purely a crime of negligence without such intent. I emphasize once again that I love my son, cared for him. No. If you loved your son, you wouldn't have tried to feed him sunlight. Any person with half a friggin' brain understands that babies need nutrients from breast milk, formula, like several times a day until they can eat solid food. So, unless you've got the mind of a 4-year-old yourself, then it's not neglect, it's abuse and it's torture. You tortured your kid to death. You didn't you weren't negligent. Negligent is like when someone's high on drugs and their kids die. Even that's abuse as well. But this is not. This is stupidity, like killing a child. These people don't deserve children. That's what it is. It says previously Maxim had sought to pin the blame on his partner, Oksana Mironova, 34, who had already received a non-custodial sentence of 2 years of correctional labor. He had claimed she had an iron deficiency as a result of her dietary choices that caused the death of the baby. No. Again, stop trying to blame it on your wife. You took the baby away for days at a time to douse it in cold water and then make it eat the sun. You can take all the blame, my friend. It says which weighed just 3.5 pounds. That's very little. It's a little baby. It says his lawyer Alexei told the court several years before a meeting, Mironova opted for the vegan lifestyle. It's thousands of vegans all around the world that have babies, raise babies, have children that get to adulthood. It's not a death sentence for children. It's not like, oh, the mum was a vegan, so the baby died. No, it's not a 1+1 situation at all. And it says Mironova's mother, Galina, accused the sinister Maxim of running a sect. I was against my daughter being in this sect. I felt everything and told her that Maxim was crazy, but she didn't listen to me. Oksana lived there like a guinea pig. She was his slave. Sorry, guys. My cat is like playing with the computer button. It says she wanted to leave him many times, but he held her back. He wanted to raise his son into a man who only eats the sun. Hey, you should get in touch with this guy. I've got a great guy who knows all about raising children and turning them into men. I get you his contact name. His name is Jesse Vang. He has some very experimental ideas on raising young boys. I'll get you his number, Mr. Maxim. You guys can talk through the prison phone with each other. You won't ever have any children again, but you can just talk about the ideas of it because you both have missing kids that were in your custody. It says here her cousin Olisa, yeah, forced her not to feed the baby. He forced her not to feed the baby. Her boyfriend believed that the son was feeding the baby. No. Oksana was secretly trying to breastfeed the baby, but she was afraid of Maxim. How is it possible to feed the baby with sunlight? A baby needs his mother's milk. Yes, very much so. It says Maxim has had delivered the child at home, refusing to let Oksana go to the maternity hospital. They eventually decided to take the emaciated child to doctors, but it was too late, and the baby died on the way on March 8, 2023, just over a year ago. There is the female. There's the wife or girlfriend, Oksana. It says here, healthy habits for newborns. Young babies should be introduced to a varied diet to ensure they get all the proper nutrients as they grow up. Parents should start feeding their infants solid food alongside breast milk when they are around 6 months of age. Exactly. This gives babies the time needed for them to cope with solid food as they become more able to feed themselves as they grow. To start with, your baby only needs small amounts of solid food once a day. Single vegetables and fruits like broccoli, potato, yam, sweet potato, carrot, apple, pear are excellent options. Are they excellent options? I don't see any of these saying a giant slab of cow or 10 pounds of bacon. I don't see any of that on there. These are all things that a vegan would eat. Things like broccoli, potato, yams, sweet potato, carrot, apples, pears. They're all things a vegan would eat. So, no, your wife's veganism didn't kill your baby. Your stupid sunlight obsession did. It says you could also try baby rice mixed with your usual baby's milk. Make sure any cooked food has cooled right down before offering it to your baby. Yes, do not put them in front of the sun. Might be way too hot by the time your baby tries to eat sun rays. Ridiculous. Some people just don't deserve children. But this guy definitely deserves a jail cell. I hope he's there for the rest of his life. How long did he get? I can't remember now. I went on a rant. 8 years in prison in a penal colony. Well, have fun, Maxim. Have fun. Maybe you can eat the sun while you're there because the prison food will be so terrible you won't be able to eat it. But that's okay. You tell us how you go on your sunlight diet. We'll check back on you in a couple of years and see how you're going, okay? We'll check back at you in 2029. Not a plant, right. She got probation. Danny says 8 years. It's not long enough, right? Not long enough for such a deliberate and you have to know that a baby can't do that. Like everyone knows that a baby needs milk, right? Everyone. Like just everyone in the world. Like even a 4-year-old child knows what babies eat because they were a baby and they see their little brothers and sisters. Oh, they need the bottle of milk or formula or they need to, be with mom or whatever. They know. So this guy has zero excuse for wanting to be like, oh, let's feed him on the sun. And he's 44 years old. He's been on this planet for 44 years. And he's still like, maybe we could feed the baby with cold showers and sunlight. Get off TikTok. For real, bro. Get the fuck off TikTok. Yeah, nutritional value, sun rays. I'm gonna look it up. I'm gonna go to the place where you can look up nutritional value of food, and I'm gonna type in sun rays, and I'm gonna see how many calories, how much protein they have, how much fat and carbohydrates 5 minutes of sunshine will give you. No, I don't think so. I think her family has cut that sort of link between them. I do not believe that she'll be there when he's out. It sounds like her mum does not want her anywhere near him ever again, as you can see down here. She got 10 months in Prudish Putin's hard labor gulag. But no, that's something else. Sorry. I think she got probation, the wife did, or the girlfriend. Hold on. Where's the one about the girlfriend? Oksana is the mum. I'm just trying to find what her sentence was again. Where is it? So you see here, apparently the mum, Oksana's mother, even sent Oksana money for food so they could secretly try and feed the child. And Oksana even tried to breastfeed the child when Maxim wasn't around, but she was afraid like Maxim was going to beat the crap out of her for doing it. So I believe that's why she got a lighter sentence because I think she tried, but she was under the control of Maxim. I still can't find her sentence. What's going on? I know we read it out. Where is it? Oh, she received a non-custodial sentence of 2 years of correctional labor. I have no idea what that is. What is correctional labor? Oh, it's basically the same thing. It's sort of like the same thing. Correctional labor. So what they do is it's sort of like a job, and you have to, well, it's labor, and you sort of have to go there and do it for 2 years. So that's what she has to do. I'm trying to see what it looks like today, like if you had to do it now. I can't really find like what they actually do now. Yeah, so that's what they used to be called a labor camp, but now they're called a correctional labor colony. Similar, they used to call it a gulag, but what do they do now? I can't find anything. If I ever find out what that is and what they do now, I'll tell you because I'd like to know what she has to do for 2 years. Just 2 years of work. Yeah, I think it's sort of like a forced position, like, you might have to make, like, I don't know, blankets for the hospital or something like that. It's sort of basically jail, but it's just you have to work a job too. She received a non-custodial sentence of 2 years of correctional labor. So, all that means is, I think, she doesn't go to jail and then do the, hard labor. She can go home, but every day, like 9 to 5 for 2 years, she has to show up somewhere and work. and she works for nothing. She works for the government. You know what I mean? She gets no benefit from it. That's her punishment. Her punishment is she basically has to work for 2 years in a, I don't know, whatever they do. Could be cooking meals for the homeless, or it could be making blankets for, babies at the hospital, or who knows what they do in Russia. Not 10 months, 2 years, 2 years. No, you don't get anything. That's the punishment. No money. Angela Connolly says, I hope he gets fed sunlight and cold showers. I know, right? We'll check back on him in 2 years' time. How you going, Maxim? How's that going for you? It's the only thing it's good for, snarks. High in vitamin D. Yeah, they don't get any money. Let me just look up. I want to see if we can find anything about Maxim. Or Maxon, whatever his name is. We can just call him Looney Tunes if you want. Looney Tunes. All right. It's actually not a lot in English, like English type things for it, unfortunately. Nah. Unfortunately, we don't have a lot of sources in English. Just this one. I find this interesting. This is where he's appealing to the court, and he's saying to the court, it wasn't deliberate. It was just neglect, as if that somehow makes it better. I didn't mean to kill my son. I killed him. The sunlight told me to do it. Yeah, see, he'll now serve 8 years in a high security penal colony. So he's pretty screwed. If he actually gets out, he won't be the same person. He'll never believe in sunlight ever again. Hopefully. Yeah, taking the baby away from its mom too. It shows a deliberate act of control. Like babies that young can't go away from their mums for too long because they've got to be fed, and I mean they can do formula and that, but the mum, if the mum can, she should be feeding the child. Yeah, that's her, Oksana Mironova. Let me see if I can find anything about her. WJLA. Says the preliminary version of the infant's death is severe exhaustion that the blogger tried to instill his nutrition system in the baby. Hate people who do that. You want to live on the craziest, like whatever the latest thing on TikTok is. Great. You can do that as an adult. That's your choice, right? You want to be a vegan, you want to be those people that go naked and stick their buttholes up at the sun. You can do that too. That's great. But the moment you force your children to partake in whatever crazy thing you do, that's when I have a problem. I can't stand people who do that. It's like if your kids want to do it when they're older or whatever, great. That's really cool, and you guys can have that as a shared activity. But when they're old enough to make a choice, not when you're just like, I'm going to turn you into a vegan at 1. I mean, I don't get that. If you want to do it when you're like 18 or 16 or whatever, great. You guys can do it together, but you got to make sure they're healthy and they grow and they become, grown humans. You got to make sure they have enough nutrients and whatever. Here, so it says both Maxim and Mironova founded a club called the Living Man that stated its intent was to help people in Russia improve their health and sort out personal problems. Okay. According to Yahoo News, Maxim is reportedly described as a master of working with the body and consciousness who offered healing to prospective clients. Seems like we're having a problem with places who offer healing today. We had a lady who died from some sort of mushroom concoction, and now we've had a baby die whose father tried to push his nutritional, routine onto it. Not having a good day for the wellness section of humanity. Now, this doesn't really have any more than what's it called? Prana eating. All right. So they call it prana or something. Couple who believe sunlight is food arrested. This was last year. This is when they were first arrested. Couple who believe sunlight is food have been detained after their 1-month-old son died of prolonged starvation. It says sunlight worshipping parents of a newborn who died of prolonged starvation have been detained in Russia. The mother, Oksana Mironova, 33, is under investigation for causing death by negligence. The father, Maxim, has been separately arrested for resisting police. Interesting, he ended up getting the longer sentence and she got 2 years in a forced labor. They called them the strange pair are reported to be believers in feeding on sunlight, while Maxim is known as a radical raw foodist. Sure. Says the preliminary version of the infant's death is severe exhaustion that the blogger tried to instill. Yeah, his nutrition, we know that. Here's actually Mironova being interviewed by authorities in Russia. I'm not sure why they blurred her face since she's all over Instagram and TikTok, but okay. Okay, this doesn't really have anything we haven't read. All right, there's your story about crazy people and what they do to their children. Well, I don't know. They said in the old article that she did, but in the new articles, it sounds like coercive control on the boyfriend's part, but who knows? Maybe she just said that so she didn't have to go to prison. We'll never know. And the baby ain't coming back. So, all right. Hold on, everyone. Let's go to Omaha. Omaha. Like when they said in the football. All right, hold on. Let's go. Let's do teachers who do bad things. All right.
County Sheriff's Office says it found this substitute teacher in the back seat of an SUV with a student this morning. Deputies say they were called to a suspicious vehicle parked near 189th and Allied Street just before 3 a.m. According to the Sheriff's Office, they saw 45-year-old Aaron Ward in the back seat with the teenager. Deputies say the 17-year-old got into the driver's seat and he crashed the SUV into a yard 2 blocks away before running away with no clothes. Deputies say when they got to the SUV, Ward was putting her clothes on in the back seat. The Sheriff's Office says Ward admitted to being a substitute teacher at OPS Burke High School and to having sex with the teen. She also said the boy is a student at the school. That student was found an hour later in a neighborhood wearing only boxers, a shirt, and socks. He was taken to a safe place to be interviewed. Ward now faces 1 count of felony sexual abuse by a school employee. If you have additional information about Ward, you can contact the Sheriff's Office tip line at 402-444-6000. OPS says it will.
What is it with the female teachers all getting done for sex crimes recently? In the last 5 years, it's just gone straight up. There's just heaps of teachers, female teachers getting done. It says Douglas County deputies arrested a woman accused of sexually assaulting a 17-year-old on April 13, a little before 3 a.m. Who's out at 3 a.m.? Deputies were called to an area of 189th and Blondo Streets for a suspicious car parked on a dead-end road. Deputies saw 2 people in the back seat of a grey Honda Pilot. one of whom got into the driver's seat and headed northbound until they crashed into a yard about 2 blocks away from the scene. The driver, a teenage male, fled the vehicle on foot. The other person in the car was a female adult, identified as 45-year-old Erin Ward, who was putting her clothes on in the back seat when deputies approached. That's a great look. They're going to be like, "What were you doing?" I was just getting changed for a dinner party." What, at 3 a.m. in the morning? It's a breakfast dinner party? Yes, okay, we don't believe you. It says Ward was found to be a substitute teacher at Burke High School, and deputies said she admitted to having sexual relations with the teen. Around 4 a.m., deputies found the teen victim. Both the teen and Ward were taken to hospital to treat minor injuries from the crash. Ward faces 1 count of felony sexual abuse by a school employee. Omaha Public Schools released a statement from Burke's principal, Darren Rasmussen, regarding the situation. "We are writing to share that law enforcement has arrested a metro area substitute teacher for inappropriate conduct with a minor. The individual worked at Burke High several days during the 2023 to 24 school year. They will not be returning to our school or any others in our district." All right. "Our top priority is always the safety and well-being of the students we serve. We take this most seriously. Counselors will be available on Tuesday for students in need of support. If you are ever concerned about inappropriate behavior, please call Child Protective Services at 1-800-652-1999 or contact law enforcement." The school district said if any parents have concerns or questions, to contact the principal at 531-299-2580. There you go. What is going on with female teachers? This is like the 50th one we've read this year. It's either females getting killed by men or females having sex with young boys. Seems to be a running thing at the moment. It says a high school teacher who police accuse of being naked in a car with a teenage student is the wife of a U.S. Department of Defense employee at a sensitive military installation, according to information from local law enforcement and government officials. Oh boy. It says the agency headquartered in Omaha, Nebraska, is a military unit that detects and deters attacks against the U.S. and its allies. NORAD? Is NORAD in Omaha? It is, right? It's NORAD. Hold on. I'm pretty sure it's NORAD at the Omaha Air Force Station. They deter attacks on, American soil and blah, blah, blah. I'm just having a look. I think it is. I think it has to be the NORAD station up there in Omaha. Because it's like a radar defense. You know when we had that big balloon that came across and then it was traveling across the country and it went through Omaha, Nebraska, and they were very worried about that because of the NORAD Institute there. Was a wife, now a divorced prisoner. That's right. She's 45. Yep, 45. All right, let's have another look. It says Erin Ward, who taught at Omaha Public Schools until she was taken into custody on Saturday, was arrested on 1 count of felony sexual abuse by a school employee after police said the 45-year-old married woman allegedly had sex with a 17-year-old boy in a car that belongs to her and her spouse. The vehicle is registered to both husband and wife Erin and William Doug Ward, Douglas County Sheriff Aaron Hansen said. Oh, it's not NORAD, it's the other one. William Doug Ward is a civilian employee for the USSC, so it's the United States Strategic Command. I think they control some of the radars and that, but yeah. Still a good one. It's not NORAD, but it's the other one. It says, although officials with the USSC confirm Doug Ward works for their agency, they would neither confirm nor deny. They would neither confirm nor deny whether the arrested teacher is his wife. They would also not release his formal title with the agency. Photos circulating on social media of the couple together show the woman in Erin Ward's mugshot with a man whose appearance matches that of Doug Ward's photo on his Defense Department bio page. Oh, let's find that. Where is his Defense Department page? Let's have a look. Where is his Defense Department? Here, Defense. Apparently he's maybe... There's the husband, unfortunately. He's currently serving as the Deputy Chief of Global Intelligence, Surveillance and Reconnaissance (ISR) capabilities branch in Global ISR and Space Division, United States Strategic Command in the OFB Nebraska. There you go. In this capacity, he provides timely, critical, and relevant advocacy information on current and future ISR and missile warning warfighter requirements. Mr. Ward served as a U.S. Air Force intelligence officer for 2 years as a chemical and biological warfare intelligence analyst at the U.S. Strategic Command prior to continuing service as a Department of the Air Force civilian. In 2002, Mr. Ward was selected for the Legislative Studies Fellowship Program supporting the United States Air Force in the Senate Liaison Office. God, they have long names. And the Air Force Legislative Liaison Weapons Division, graduating in 2003. In 2005, Mr. Ward returned to the U.S. Strategic Command as a lead program analyst in the Global Space and ISR Division. During his most recent tenure at USSC, he has worked various pragmatic and advocacy issues regarding missile warning, space, maritime, air, and terrestrial ISR, culminating in his current role as Deputy Branch Chief. So he's really up there. He's a quite far up the chain of command. Mr. Ward was one of 10 out of 1,300 eligible applicants handpicked by Senior Executive Board to be a leadership fellow in a graduate level program between U.S. Strategic Command and the University of Nebraska, focused on enhancing demonstrated leadership skills and posturing fellows for senior responsibilities in the Department of Defense. That was a long one. That's him there. He controls stuff to do with radar and space and missiles and air and terrestrial and other important war stuff. I don't know what he does. He's Global Intelligence, Surveillance and Reconnaissance. Why do they have these names? No one knows what they do. It's like they're like, let's make names for our military stuff so no one ever knows what you actually do. They're like, that's how we keep it all secret. We'll just give you the craziest name with the most amount of letters that we can think of. And then, you could literally be the guy who makes coffee. And they'll be like, yeah, he's the global, small room specialist in our large room office of command. He regulates, hot water leadership and, often runs. Yeah. It's like they do crazy things. Angela says he was definitely punching. She looks way younger than him. To confuse everyday people. That's right. Marilyn Landis, yeah. I suggest his role with the USSC is quite demanding, and he's probably not home very much. I'm guessing he is away a lot with what he does. Probably sounds like he's been away since 2002. I don't think he's been don't think he's been home much. So I guess he's got a bored wife who's going out there and making her own fun, unfortunately. I feel very sorry for him. Now he has to face ridicule at work because of what his wife has done, and I'm sure it'll cost him in the workplace as well. When these type of scandals pop up, these guys don't get, you know, promotions, respect. You know, it's still a very man's world in the military. So he might have a hard time. So I guess we could call him a victim as well. She's a chomo. I don't know what that is. I don't know what that is, Danny. You'll have to translate that for me. All right. All right. I love the photo. Look at this. Does she look like someone who is surprised that she is wearing an orange jail suit? It almost looks like she's stunned to be there. She's like, why am I here? What did I do wrong? Can I go home? I'm going to call my husband. He can bomb this place with all the missiles that he controls. She looks, yeah. I want to know how she was out at 3 a.m. in the morning as a married couple. Wouldn't you know your wife was not home? Wouldn't you be like, it's 3 a.m. Where is that woman? It's a strange time to be, out. Let me see if I can find anything else on her. It even made it to Canada, apparently. Says a high school teacher who police accuse of being naked in a car with a teenage student is the wife of the U.S. Department of Defense employee. Yeah, we know that. It says here, photos circulating on social media of the couple together show the woman in Aaron Ward's mugshot with a man whose appearance matches that of Doug Ward's photo on the Defense Department's bio page. Last month, a retired U.S. Air Force colonel assigned to the U.S. TRACOM was arrested and charged with transmitting top-secret defense information on a foreign online dating platform after officials said he shared secrets with a person posing as an interested lover, so he was being conned for inside information. It's not her husband, is it? No, his name's David Franklin. I was like, wow, what a couple if it was him. Now, it says a civilian employee of the United States Air Force was arrested and charged with transmitting top-secret defense information on a foreign online dating platform over a period of several months in 2022. David Franklin Slater, 63, was arrested Friday in Nebraska on 3-count federal indictment. According to the indictment, Slater, who was assigned to the U.S. Strategic Command Unit, attended top-secret official briefings regarding Russia's war against the Ukraine, and then gave out that information to someone claiming to be a woman living in the Ukraine via email and online messages. They said the co-conspirator regularly asked Slater to provide her with sensitive, non-public, closely held and classified NDI, and called Slater in their messages her secret informant love. That doesn't sound sexual. And her secret agent, and said the department in its news release added that Slater complied with her request, providing information including regarding military targets and Russian military capabilities relating to Russia's invasion of the Ukraine. That's great. He almost gave away the entire US game plan to someone he met online. And we wonder why we don't win these engagements, because people are too busy giving it away to, dating site people. It says the indictment alleges defendant knowingly transmitted information. The department said that Slater willfully, improperly, and unlawfully shared the secret information with his co-conspirator, who has not been identified by name in the indictment. Assistant Attorney General Matthew G. Olson of the Justice Department's National Security Division, in a statement, said that Slater, an Air Force civilian employee and retired U.S. Army lieutenant colonel, knowingly transmitted classified national defense information to another person in blatant disregard for the security of his country and his oath to safeguard its secrets. Yeah, it's like treason, right? The Department of Justice will seek to hold accountable those who knowingly and willingly put their country at risk by disclosing classified information. Slater was scheduled to appear in court in the District of Nebraska Tuesday. If convicted, Slater faces up to 10 years in prison, 3 years of supervised release, and a fine of up to $250,000 for each of the 3 counts in the indictment. So he could face up to 10 years in prison and almost $1 million in fines if he is found guilty. An attorney listed for Slater could not be immediately reached for comment on the case. There you go. Lots happening in Nebraska, apparently. You got a substitute teacher sleeping with her student, and her husband works at the USSC. And then at the USSC, you've got someone who is giving away national secrets on the war with Russia to an online date he met on a dating site, telling her all the strategic plans for Russia. Very clever. Hey Shad, how are you? Hey Leisha, you just got up? Ah, for child. Oh, okay, well, I don't have any street cred. I sold mine years ago. I Hate Morning says, I had a friend come knock at my window at 3 a.m. because he snuck out to see his girlfriend and someone locked him out. I let him sleep on the couch in our basement. That's very kind of you. Yeah, Anika's got all the street cred. A 17-year-old street a 17-year-old is out on the streets at that time to go meet an older woman, apparently. Hey Leisha, how are you, my friend? All right. Let's see what else I've got. See if we've got anything else interesting. Let's see, my friends. I thought you were going to tell us that Annika got arrested. Hold on. Thought I had something about an arrest in... Hold on. Where is it? Did we hear anything else about Maxwell Anderson? Hold on.
Search for her remains today.
She is the 19-year-old killed and dismembered earlier this month in Milwaukee. Christina Van Zels is live with an update on the investigation. Christina?
Mary, we checked in with the Milwaukee County Sheriff's Office today asking where does the investigation stand as of today, but never heard back. As that search continues for the rest of Sade Robinson's remains, here's what we do know so far.
Loved ones of 19-year-old Sade Robinson won't find peace until they find her remains.
I think finding her will do them wonders, and it also helped me too.
33-year-old Maxwell Anderson was officially charged in her death Friday. Investigators confirmed it was Robinson's leg that was found in Warnemont Park in Cudahy. Investigators also found a foot and other human remains in Milwaukee County, which were identified as Robinson's. In that same area, 31st and Galena, authorities say Robinson's car was set on fire.
Everyone knew her as like a bubbly girl with a great smile, and she made the world a better place. So just this to happen to her, out of anyone, is just tragic. It's horrible.
Authorities identified Anderson as a person of interest through phone records and say the two went out on a first date. Saturday, Robinson's family used locations from where her phone pinged to search for the rest of her remains.
I went up and down those cliffs, the wooded areas where I didn't think police or the dogs could get into.
The search for Sade Robinson continues Monday. Fox 6 reached out to Anderson's attorneys for comment, but never heard back. Anderson remains in jail with a $5 million bond.
Anderson is due back in court a week from today. As for Robinson's family, they tell us that they are continuing to search for her remains and are particularly tonight focusing at the water area at Warniment Park. Reporting live outside the Milwaukee County Courthouse, Christina Van Zelst, Fox 6 News.
So still no, they still haven't found the rest of Sade. That's really very disturbing and sad. They're missing quite a lot of her, unfortunately. Still no remains found, huh? Annika says common term on YouTube crime channels. I don't go to any YouTube crime channels. I've never heard of such a thing. I don't go there. Yeah, very sad. And this guy is just a monster. You know, you can tell he has those weird features, like his eyes are too close together and his nose and mouth are too close to his eyes. Yet he's got this giant head. So like they're all pushed together, like he's some sort of Mr. Potato Head. It's like you could move his features around. Very Neanderthal. It says here, Robinson was reported missing on April 2nd, and her family, if I told you, they actually found her blanket with her name on it near where they found her car that had been torched. And that was very difficult for the family to find. But Sade Robinson had actually gone on a date with Maxwell Anderson, and they ate out for a little while. They went to another place after the original seafood restaurant. They had a couple of drinks, and they went back to his place. Then between about 6:37 and about 9:30, everything seemed to be going okay, and then something went wrong, obviously. But you can tell on the Life 360 app data and the cell phone data that something happened. And then after midnight, everything starts moving around again, and her phone and her car and him, they end up in the different parts around Wisconsin and Milwaukee where they found her body parts and her car, but they just can't find the rest of her. The one thing that was discovered of her was her leg. Her leg was found on April 2nd, the day after Anderson had met with her, and then they found her car too. Robinson was reported missing on April 2nd when the teenager who had a date with Anderson the night before at a Milwaukee seafood restaurant he used to work at didn't show up for her shift at a pizza restaurant. Her co-workers suspected something was wrong. Now the man she went on a date with is charged with the following: first-degree intentional homicide, mutilating a corpse, and arson of property other than a building. I'm pretty sure that is her car because he torched her car. They went on a first date on April 1, according to prosecutors. Let's see if they have any new information. There's a missing poster for her, for Sade, that her friends from her work did that. See? Sade is an integral part of the Pizza Shuttle family. We are hoping and praying that she is found safe. If you know anything at all, please call the number listed. They were her work friends. They did that for her. Anderson is scheduled to return to court for his preliminary hearing on April 22nd. That's in 5 days at 1:30 p.m. So we will find out more when he heads back to court. Would be nice if they could find the rest of her, though. There's a photo of Sade there, if you guys can see on the screen. Hold on, guys. What is going on? Okay. So, someone sent me an email. I don't want to read your name out. They're asking why. Oh, okay. So someone sent me an email asking why their name is not on the ending video from earlier. So one of the weird things, I wanted to talk about this earlier. If you donate through Ko-Fi, it works differently to, say, YouTube. When you guys donate in YouTube, you know, like if you're with Gray Hughes and you do his membership or whatever, and then on the 1st of like May, it comes out, and then on the 1st of June it comes out, and then the 1st of July it comes out. Ko-Fi works differently in that it doesn't do it on the 1st of the month. It does it whatever day you did it. So say if you had a monthly and you signed up on the 15th, it would do it on the 15th on the next month. It wouldn't start on the 1st. YouTube, even if you signed up on the 15th with YouTube, it'll bill you again on the 1st, and then after that it'll just bill you on the 1st every month. But Ko-Fi doesn't do that. It just bills you on the day that you start. So, and then I don't see it until that day the next month. So it's not like on the 1st of the next month I see it and then I can add your name. I won't see it until the 15th. So I hope that helps that person who just emailed in. Yeah, I hope that helps you. Because like as soon as I see it, I'll add you. I always add everyone to the video as soon as I can. As soon as I can do it for you, I will add you to it. I wish we had a better way of doing it, but we just don't. It's the easiest way we can do memberships right now. Sienna says, in high school, I used to sneak out all the time. I told my friends they had to be better than I was to get by with being bad. She says, nope, I caught them every time. I'm very proud how they turned out. Oh, you said, I told my kids they had to be better than I was to get by with being bad. That's right. At some point it will change, Danny. We applied to take credit cards, but they haven't approved our application as of yet. We applied ages ago, but it takes a while to get approved because it's like you're dealing with actual credit cards, and we haven't got approval yet. As soon as it is, we'll be able to use it, and you'll have two options. You'll be able to do the PayPal, and you'll be able to do straight credit card. But right now, it won't accept it. So sorry about that. Hopefully in the future we'll have it, or hopefully we'll get to the 1,000 people, and then we can just do memberships through YouTube, and we can do super chats or whatever, and it'll be a lot easier. And then I can shut down the Ko-Fi. All right. Let me get you another story. But yeah, no, that person that emailed, I didn't want to read out your name and, bust your identity to anyone in the chat. But thanks for emailing in. Wait, what the? All right, hold on. Let me get back into my. I always save a bunch of, whenever I read and I'm not here, I save stories for all of you to read when we need more stories. Okay. We've got two. We've got two. These are both, unfortunately, stupid murders that shouldn't have happened. We'll do this one first. It says, mother of Jason Gallagher breaks down in court as alleged postcode gang members are found guilty of murdering teenage son over AirPods. It says the mother of a 16-year-old fatally bashed in a brutal retribution for allegedly stealing AirPods burst into tears and stared down as one of the adult ringleaders after a court found the pair guilty of murder. Kayla Dawson, 22, and Richard Sion, 34, were convicted on Monday of teenager Jason Gallagher's murder, which occurred inside Dawson's home in western suburb of Doonside on August 6, 2021. When the verdict was announced, Jason's mother, Rachel, began sobbing and fixed her glare on Sion, as he was led back into custody. Dawson, who was appearing via audio-visual link from a prison, only nodded briefly at the sentence as the sentence was passed. Both are accused of being associates of a Western Sydney postcode gang. Dawson believed Jason had stolen her AirPods, and she lured the boy from a Western Sydney train station into an ambush by a group of 6 assailants as purported retribution. There's Richard, one of the people who was arrested and now convicted of the murder. It says Sion led the assault on Jason, which was then taken up by 5 teenagers who referred to him as uncle or dad. The assault lasted for more than half an hour, and about 7 minutes of it was recorded by Dawson and shared. One part of the recording captured a teen assailant saying, "Oi, stop, look at him." Jason died of his injuries 2 days later in hospital. Both Dawson and Sion pleaded guilty to the killing. Here's Kayla Dawson, the other person who has been convicted of that murder. You wouldn't know it, but that is actually a girl. Just a bit of a tomboy type girl. However, Justin Robert Allen Holm found Dawson's role was central to the horrific crime as the organizer of the payback for the purported theft. A teenager invited by Dawson to participate in the attack even boasted about it before the event. "Me and 2 of the boys are bashing someone today. Laugh my ass off." A text from a teen who was handed a 15-year jail term over the incident last August. Dawson applied to have her charge reduced to manslaughter, claiming she had substantial cognitive impairment that affected her capacity to control herself or judge her own actions. The argument did not sway Justice Holm. The fact that she chose to leave the room on at least one occasion to go outside and speak to the concerned neighbors seems at odds with the proposition her capacity to control herself was substantially impaired. Because she knew what she was doing was wrong. You can't claim impairment if you're able to go out to the neighbors and then negotiate that nothing's wrong and that no one inside is being hurt. That doesn't work. That shows a mindset to cover up an activity you full well know is bad. So she got struck down by the judge. She wanted the deceased to be assaulted because he had annoyed her and bullied her. She willingly involved herself and encouraged the protracted beating by being present and recording and transmitting it with apparent glee. Justice Holmes said Dawson's decision to film and transmit video of the incident also undermined her claims of impairment, according to a report by 7 News. It says, Dawson said during the assault, "I just can't stop laughing. I'm sending it to Jono." Sion argued that 5 young people who continued the bashing after he left Dawson's home were responsible. However, Justice Holm found Sion was part of the joint criminal enterprise which planned and carried out the assault. This is the young boy who died, Jason. This is a photo of him here. He was bashed for about half an hour because they thought he had stolen a pair of AirPods, but I believe he never actually did, or they just thought he did and they just wanted to bash him. It says he and others detained the deceased in the bedroom without his consent to obtain a psychological advantage by humiliating him, to exact punishment and retribution for the perceived theft of Kayla Dawson's AirPods. He simply walked out, he said, and did nothing to deter any continued assault by the co-participants in the enterprise. It says Dawson and Sion will be sentenced on July 8th. A number of other teenagers charged over the fatal beating remain before the courts, although one of them got 15 years. So if these 2, as the alleged ringleaders, think they're going to get off light or easy, they probably are not. I can tell you a little story, actually. I actually used to live in Doonside, and I know this area quite well, and it's always been a rough area, even when I was growing up in the 90s, and I believe it's probably still quite a rough area. That whole region is Doonside. Can't remember what the next station is. Is it Blacktown or Rudy Hill? Where is it? Yeah, so you have... So Doonside is right near Colleton. I actually lived in Colleton growing up. And so it's right near Blacktown. Doonside, Rudy Hill, Blacktown, Seven Hills, St. Mary's, and then you go to Kingswood, Penrith, That's the train line that you go through. Maybe I can show you. Come on, maps. So Doonside's up here. This is Doonside. This is Blacktown, Toongabbie, Westmead. Then you go Parramatta, Harris Park. We've spoken a bit about Parramatta in other times on this channel. But the further you get out this way, out west, the sort of the rougher it gets, especially around Blacktown, Quakers Hill. I had a great friend who lived in Quakers Hill, one of my good mates. Mount Druitt, St. Mary's, St. Clair used to be pretty rough when I was growing up. I don't know if it still is, but it was when I was growing up. And then Collerton, where I used to live. I used to live out this way. I used to live somewhere around here, somewhere in these millions of houses, somewhere around there. But yeah, when I was growing up, none of this was here. I think there used to be a Bunnings here or something. I can't remember. But this whole green thing used to actually stretch all the way out over here a bit more. This was all sort of like creek beds, and I sound old, but yeah, it wasn't as built up. But there you go. There's a bit of a look in Sydney, Australia. So that's where that incident took place, where the red is here. And you can see how far away from Bondi it is. That's where Bondi Junction is, where the stabbing happened over the weekend. So Bondi is on the coast of Sydney. Where that stabbing happened is inland. It's quite, what word is it about? 50 minutes from the city, something like that. 50 minutes. If you go from the center of the city at Central. So it's about an hour, almost an hour from the city. So there you go. It's really far out from the central bit that everyone knows, like Sydney Harbour and the Opera House and all that part of Sydney. It's what they call the West. So there you go. There's a bit of geography for you. It's not sharing the map? I think you're delayed, my friend. Thanks, Moonlight View. Let me see. What did you send me? What did you send me? What is this? This is details about the attack at Bondi. Just trying to see if there's anything I haven't told you. So I think we did say it before, but even the police have said, it's obvious to me, it's obvious to the detectives that there seems to be an area of interest that the offender had to be focused on women and avoided the men. The night that we did the live stream, we kept saying that. We kept looking at the videos and going, why does he keep running away from the men? It was very odd, and I've never seen that in a mass stabbing event. Normally they just go to whoever's closer, but he would get to a man and he would sort of just jump away and go try to find a woman or a child. It was very odd. Maybe part of his schizophrenia or something. Unfortunately, as bad as schizophrenia is, and as many times as we've seen it in a crime, very similar to the girl who killed her mum, she was very mentally unwell too. But there is a lot of people out there in the community who live with schizophrenia every day, but they are the people they have insight into their own mental condition. They are able to self-reflect and know when this like illness is making things worse, and they're able to ask for help or go see their doctor and get their medication tweaked. And these are what they call, I think they're called high functioning, where they're able to live everyday life and remember to take their medication, and they know when things are getting worse and they seek help. Unfortunately, there are some people that have schizophrenia out there who they're sort of like this guy where they either stop taking it, they're not diagnosed properly, or they're not on the right medication, and then it ends up casting a stigma over all the people who try very hard to control the mental illness they have that they didn't ask for. So I did see some commentary this week about schizophrenia, and a lot of people who live with it felt very targeted this week because of the stabbings that happened, and they felt very marginalized by some of the coverage. So I wanted to bring that up and just make sure people know there are a lot of people out there who live with it day to day. Some of them hold jobs, some of them are doctors, some of them are people who care for other people, like some of them are carers for their own parents and things like that. So there's a lot of people out there suffering from it, not just like Mr. Corchi Corchi, Mr. Corchi, who stabbed a bunch of people at a Bondi Westfield and killed a bunch of women and one man. He's, police said earlier that Corchi from the neighboring state of Queensland was known to authorities and had suffered from mental health issues, though he had not been prosecuted or charged with any previous criminal offence in the state. The state's Premier Chris Minns declared Monday a national day of mourning and said the Australian national flags will be flown at half-mast on government buildings. Sydney's Opera House will be lit up in black ribbon to commemorate those who were killed in the attack. They said, families are in mourning today. Lives have been devastated as a result of these criminal actions. The people who were killed were innocent people who had their whole lives ahead of them. The community is devastated in the knowledge of their loss. Police said Monday they had concluded their examinations of the shopping mall and the crime scene was being handed back to Westfield. More than 100 pieces of evidence were removed and will be forensically examined as part of the investigation. Now, from what I understand, they're still not going to open up tomorrow, which is Thursday. They're going to open up again on Friday. And even then, not every store in the shopping center is going to open back up on Friday. A bunch of them are not going to open up until next week. They're going to take the entire week off and then they'll re-examine on Monday morning. So I wouldn't expect it to be fully functioning on Friday. It says here, if you want an update on the baby who was stabbed during the attack, apparently it's doing really well. Baby Harriet is doing good, and she is now out of ICU. Apparently, she's no longer in ICU anymore, and she's showing signs of improvement. So that is very, very good news. It says here, Minister for Health Park said the whole country had been holding its breath for news of the baby's condition. He said she had moved from critical to serious, which was a significant improvement, and doctors hope to move the baby onto a ward in the coming days. In the darkest of times comes sometimes the brightest of lights, he said. Staff have literally performed miracles and people are alive because of their efforts. Yeah, please don't forget the hospital and doctors and nurses who are working around the clock to keep the rest of the people alive right now. They are doing a great job. It says, the Good family said, words cannot express our gratitude to the two men who held and cared for our baby when Ashley could not. Two brothers had earlier told CNN affiliate News 9 they tried to help by compressing the bleeding after they saw the mother and baby had been stabbed. We were holding the baby and trying to compress the baby, one said. Faraz Tahir, 30, was also identified among those killed. He was described in a statement from the Muslim community of Australia as an integral member of our community, known for his unwavering dedication and kindness. Tahir was on duty as a security guard at the mall at the time of the attack. He is the only male victim. It was his first day on the job in that location, his friend said. He was really excited. He had a lot of ambition for his future. Just setting into his new country, He was looking forward to a stable career to make a family up here, and it's just sad how it's all ended up. The community said Tahir was a refugee who had fled persecution in his home country of Pakistan and sought refuge in Australia a year ago. Pakira Darshia, 55, Dawn Singleton, 25, Jane Young, 47, were also killed in the attack. Australian Prime Minister Anthony Albanese told KISS 106.5 radio on Monday that the sixth victim was identified as, I want to say it's Yuan Cheng, a Chinese national who was studying in Australia. The Chinese embassy in Australia confirmed that one Chinese national had died and another was seriously injured in the attack. So, yeah, here's your update on the stabbing from last week. It's really good news that the baby is doing a lot better and has been moved from ICU to a ward now. I'm just trying to see if we have any other more latest news on the attack. This was very sad too. It says Ashley Good's husband forced to make impossible choice after Westfield Bondi Junction stabbing that killed wife. Apparently they sent his wife to one hospital and sent the baby Harriet to another hospital, and he had to make a choice about which hospital to go to because he can't be in two places at one time. And that was like the hardest choice ever, apparently. Apparently, he was able to go to the hospital his wife was in, and he was able to see her before she died from her injuries. That is a very sweet little bit of information that he was at least able to see her before she died. I mean, that would have been incredibly hard. It says the baby had suffered stab wounds to her stomach and has now been moved out of the ICU unit. So that's good. Yeah, there you go. There's a photo of Joel Corchi. There you go. There's your update. Let's see. Marilanda says it's a miracle. It is, right? Campbell says, speaking of old, now that my mum has passed, I'm quite sure I have high seniority on our street. Well, you're going to have to take that role very seriously, Gambler. And you're going to have to become the new head of the street. You're going to have to organize the Christmas card and the Secret Santa. All right, I think we've been on for almost another hour and a half. Geez, we've been on far too long. I got to get out of here, everyone. What's wrong? Gambler says nobody else knows who you're talking about, Angela. What? Hold on. Angela says, Gambler, my parents have lived in our street since it was built many, many moons ago, and we all say the original people's names when talking about houses in our street. She's saying that they've lived in their street for so long, or her parents had, that they knew all the original residents of this street. So now when they describe the different houses or numbers on the street, they call each one by the original owner. So number 8 might be Tim and Judy. So they're like, oh, Tim and Judy. But they haven't lived there in 30 years, but they still call it Tim and Judy. Yeah. That's true, Gambler. More? You guys still awake at like... What time is it over there now? Hold on. Let me see if I got one more. I might not. We'll see. I think I got one more that we haven't done. Here. It says Leonard Borg, cannabis growers bid to overturn Peter Rule murder conviction shot down. So it says a cannabis grower jailed after killing and dissolving a friend over fears he was a police informant has lost his bid to be freed. Killer Leonard Borg's efforts to overturn the conviction in the Victorian Court of Appeal on Tuesday was shot down for lacking merit. Borg, 40, was jailed in 2012 after a Supreme Court jury found he had murdered Peter Rule, 56, at a Camberfield factory in Melbourne's north 3 years earlier. The court was told Borg was growing cannabis crops at rented factories in 2009, one of which was raided by police in March that year. In the following months, he became suspicious that Mr. Rule informed police of the location and had been snooping around another factory in Thomastown. On November 15, Borg took Mr. Rule out to dinner before driving him to a Camberfield factory where he was shot multiple times with a rifle. There's a photo of Rule, who was reported missing on November 17, 2009. Borg then drove the body to his Thomastown cannabis operation and spent the following 3 days dismembering, burning, and dissolving Mr. Rule's remains in hydrochloric acid. But almost a decade later, he launched an appeal against the conviction, arguing his lawyers at trial were incompetent, claiming there had been a substantial miscarriage of justice. During a hearing last week, Borg argued the lawyer had been negligent and failed to discuss her tactics at trial, including accusing two Crown witnesses of being Mr. Rule's true killer. Central to the case was his lawyer claiming during trial that she had overheard witnesses discussing what to say during a break and confronting them in the stand rather than recusing herself and becoming a defense witness. He pointed to several interjections made by trial judge Justice Lexi Lasery, questioning the lawyer's actions during the trial. And it says here in quotes, "Goodness me, your client won't understand this, but I am now intervening on his behalf because I can't for the life of me see how you are not doing his case harm by this cross-examination." Sorry. It says, "You need to think about what you're doing. I'm sorry to be irritated, but I can barely believe my ears." So something in the original court case where his lawyer wasn't doing the correct job, and another person stepped in to say, "Hey, you're not doing him any favors here." It says, handing down their decisions to reject the appeal, Justice Philip Priest and Stephen Kay said overall Borg's lawyer conduct at trial was competent. Even if it was to be accepted that there were some blemishes in the manner in which senior counsel presented the applicant's case, we consider that none of these matters established that there was incompetence. In our opinion, the punitive appeal so lacks merit that an extension of time ought not to be granted. Borg will be eligible for parole after serving 24 years and 9 months in prison. There you go. He cut up, dissolved, and burnt this guy, Peter Rule. Spent 3 days dismembering him and then putting his remains in hydrochloric acid. I don't believe Peter Rule has ever been located. I'll just check. As of 2010, his body was still missing. Apparently, Peter Rule's remains were dumped into the sea off the Great Ocean Road, which is down south. And apparently, those remains have never been located. And Peter Rule just was dissolved into thin air, and yeah, it's like what you hear about in the movies, how they say they're going to dissolve them and make them disappear. Well, this guy actually tried, but he ended up being caught for his crime, serving 27 years in prison. Okay. All right, guys. My voice is giving out on me. I'm gonna head for the night. I appreciate everyone. Thank you to everyone who supports this channel. It's been a funny couple of weeks. We're missing a lot of our regulars, and there's people who I really enjoy seeing that I don't know where they are. I don't know if they're just getting caught up in the Daybell trial, but I hope that's all it is, and I hope I haven't upset anyone because it's really been causing me a lot of grief and mental anguish because I sit here going, "What have I done to them?" But I'll be back tomorrow at 9 o'clock, and we'll do more true crime then. I hope it was a good couple of shows. We've done about 3 hours today. 3 hours of live stream. We'll probably be back tomorrow to do another 3 hours, and yeah, we'll see what happens in the different cases overnight tonight. I want to thank Sean. Sean sent in a donation during the show. Sean, thank you very much. That is very kind of you, and it is much appreciated. I'm going to get out of here. I'm going to get you guys to bed, and we'll see what happens tomorrow in the world of true crime. Hey, thank you very much, Moonlight View. Thanks for being here as the moderator. I appreciate it. It's the weather. People are enjoying the sun. Well, it's cold down here. Yeah. Thank you, Jojo. It's very, very, very appreciated. She'll be better soon when she gets out of hospital. I'll pass on your thoughts though. Thank you guys. Hey, peace out. Bye bye. Thanks to all the people who like and subscribe and support the channel. You are all amazing. And the people who come and chat or leave comments. By the way, we are having some issues with the comments. So if you haven't received a reply, we're working on it. It seems to be some people get a reply. I reply to others and they don't actually post. So I'm trying to figure it out because I want to make sure everyone gets a reply. So all right, peace out. Bye bye.